was God.
Wow, that's what we open with. People are going to hear that. The first thing that they hear in this particular episode.
It's true.
Wow. Well, we forgot to. We don't mention this enough. But our theme music.
Oh yeah.
It's used by permission, of course.
Yes, by Billy Fortier.
Billy Fortier and
Sea Fox.
Man, we were just talking about memory issues.
That dude is something else. Do you follow him on social media anymore?
I mean, he's a friend. I guess I haven't really known. I knew he was doing like a lot of film work and stuff.
Yeah, he's over in Venice.
Oh, he's in
Italy
Venice.
right now, filming and doing stuff.
Have you reached out to him to see if he wanted to do a comprehensive documentary on what to do with your old explicit content hosted by...
We're in negotiations.
Okay. Yep. So, but anyhow, welcome. This is episode... If I think long enough, I can figure... This is episode 16.
Wow.
Yeah, 16 episodes. We've made it. It's like that song, 16 miles on the Erie Canal.
You know, if we do a YouTube video of that, there's only like 5 of them on YouTube.
Really?
So we might actually be able to pick it up, because every once in a while, like with this 200th anniversary that's going on this year with the Erie Canal, they got all this, jack and roll going on with the barges and replica ships going up and down and stuff like that. People are looking at this. It's hot right now.
Yeah, my son Trevor's band, a group called Rust Belt Brigade. They did
they do
did
too,
a nice
don't they?
version of that. Yeah.
Tell them to put it on YouTube.
I will. I'll tell him to start selling official.
It will get some hits on YouTube this year.
Yeah. You know what's great about a song like Erie Canal song?
What?
Public domain.
Is it?
Oh yeah, you have to pay.
Why? Just because it's so old?
Yeah. Once it gets to be a certain age, you don't have to pay.
Oh,
it's kind of like the Bible. You reprint the Bible, you don't have to pay anybody. Although,
I thought you had to pay King James.
Well, that's one of the reasons why there's so many King James versions out there, because the King James version is not in copyright, but like the new international versions and other versions, those are, because they can copyright the translation.
See, like now I think like if you put this up on YouTube, we need that now. The more you know, star thing from NBC.
The more you know. All right, what's the topic this week other than Erie Canal and Bibles and copyright law?
You want me to come up with one?
You said you had plenty.
I do. I still have like
well, then go.
150 of them.
For it. I got nothing.
Why can't you call they them?
Why can't you call they them?
Yeah, why can't you call somebody them?
I don't
you get somebody that comes to you that's, having gender identity issues.
Okay.
I'm not asking you if you agree with it.
Right. Well, you can't ask me.
I'm not. I don't care.
What do you mean you don't care? You know what I'd answer anyway.
No, I don't. This isn't the point. The point is, it's like if somebody comes to you and, you can't tell if they're male or female, or if you think they're male but they look female, or they think they're male, you think they're male or female and they look male, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're not sure what to call them, or they ask you to call them they. Why can't you just do that? Because you have so many people like, I'm not going to call, Susie Tim and refer to him as they when I know she was born Susie and stuff like that.
Right.
Why can't you just do that? Why can't you just minimize the anguish somebody is clearly, regardless whether you think what's causing it, regardless whether you think it's legitimate, regardless whether you think they're delusional, psychotic, lost, sinning, anything else, they're clear. You have to agree that they're going through some stuff.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
but it's the to me the term is identity,
or
right?
maybe not going through some stuff, but have gone through some stuff to come to that point.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I think it's more like.
Maybe a better way to put it.
Yeah, because I think that the term, and obviously this is a very hot topic, obviously, and there are so many people. It's like you have to be very careful how you discuss it. I'm not.
I don't want to be careful about it. I want to be
careful either.
I don't want to be careful. I want to be kind and loving, but I don't want to be careful because
No, I agree, and I think that. The term identity means that you at some point have struggled with, and the term identity crisis has existed long before you and I. So in terms of getting to the point where you identify as a certain thing, or a certain gender, or you want to be called this or you want to be called that, it kind of goes back. This is going to be an oversimplification, so listeners, I apologize, but it's. You can tell me if it's an oversimplification that has no relevance, but I think it's relevant. So when I decided to change my my preferred name, both as a writer or as a person or whatever, from Thom, Tom, or Thomas, Thoms, to Thom, Thom. I felt that was a reasonable request for people to, if they're writing to me or if that's how I spell my name. My name is spelled Thom.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
You actually changed that?
no, but I'm saying like I changed it personally in the sense that this is what I've asked of the world as a whole.
Right.
I want to be known as Thom, Thom, and there's a whole story behind that. But the point at the end of the day, that's not neither here nor there. And there are people that will just refuse to put the H on the Thom because they just think it's stupid. And it's just, to me, that's just ridiculous. Like, what harm does it cause you to add an H?
That is
Thom?
That is exactly 100% my point.
Yeah. So if
like
somebody says they want to be they or them or whatever, I mean, I'll call you whatever you want me to call you.
Somebody comes to you and their given name is Tom.
Right.
And they come to, regardless of how they're presenting themselves or anything else, and they want to be called Tammy.
Dude, why'd you pick that name? Come on, really?
I don't know.
My ex-wife's name? Don't do it.
Tamara. I don't know.
Actually, I work with a Tammy right now.
How about Tanya? They want to be called Tanya.
I think I dated a Tanya. Broke up with me.
Okay.
No, I didn't. I never. Go ahead. Tanya's fine.
Or they want to be referred to as they. How does that cause you anguish? I mean, I understand that you may not understand how they got to that point or accept it, but they are clearly, trying to establish an identity. And, from my standpoint, if you're a Christian person, which is clearly in the minority nowadays in this world, but if you're a Christian person, you're supposed to be not causing harm to other people. Yes, telling the truth. We, before everybody, our evangelical friends get in here and, want to beat me over the head with that. I understand that, but you're also called to be loving. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't cause you any anguish to refer to somebody by the way they want to be referred to and extend the love that you're supposed to be extending to them. So, like, if you do that, all you're doing is causing less harm. In which case, I would think
courtesy, though, right? That's all it is.
I would think, in which case, I would think that they would probably be drawn to spending more time with you than they would be with somebody that says, "Listen, I know how you were born, and that's what I was calling it because that's what your dad is going to call you. Your dad called you Sue. I don't care if you are a boy." So yeah, just got it was Johnny Cash, and Johnny Cash reference. Thank you.
That's excellent.
I've been on a Jerry Reed kick lately.
I'm gonna have to play you some Waylon Jennings.
I'm getting into all that stuff, man.
Yeah,
I'd never listened to Waylon Jennings before in my life. Now I'm like all over it. Jerry Reed, Waylon Jennings, what's that other guy? C.W. Weller?
I don't know him.
Or something like that. I don't know. All those guys are sounding like they're talking on a CB radio in the 70s and out of an 18-wheeler of a truck.
Yeah.
I'm down with it. But anyway, this is a little tangent.
That was a lot. That was a big tangent. That was a Tom tangent. That was Jack. That's Jack proving that I am a bad influence on him. So that was a total Tom tangent.
Anyway.
All right. Yes, but go ahead. As you were saying.
Well, so I mean, if from a purely Christian standpoint, you're trying to get people to understand, the love of Christ that you profess that you have and you want to share with them, wouldn't it be better to not alienate them as to drive them away? Not I say them, but drive people away so that they want to spend more time with you, frankly, know that they can, and I know this is a kind of a grenade being launched, but they want to spend time with you and know that they can trust you. And that you're, I don't particularly like the term a safe person or safe place, but you don't need to be harmful either. And if you can't just respect people for the trials that they've gone through or the trials that they're going through, you're not even being respectful of them in that moment, much less what they've been through.
Yeah, and I will say, I don't know that all transgender people go through a whole heck of a lot. I think some people find it very easy to get there, But yeah,
but getting accepted for it is a completely different thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think as
And I'm not
society, we've done a good job to some degree, but ultimately,
I'm not necessarily validating it.
I know you're not validating it. I mean, it's the validation is a whole nother topic,
Right.
I mean, it's just like saying that by calling me Thom, Thom, or addressing me as that in a letter or whatever. It's not necessarily a form of validation. It's a form of respect. You're not saying that my legal
Respect
name
for the
has now
humanity.
changed. You're saying this is how I prefer to be addressed. Almost no different than, and I'm not trying to offend anybody by downgrading, what your personal pronouns are, but if you want to be called, some people say I want to be called Mr. Jennings instead of, Thom. There's a generation where, like, if there's a child and an adult, they expect the adult to be addressed as Mr., Mrs., or Ms. or whatever. But what I'm saying is that, to me, like, if there's so little effort in doing that, then what is the big deal? Like, it is
right.
there's not a whole heck of a lot of heavy lifting. If you're asking me to go to a 7-hour training session on pronouns and beat me over the head with it and tell me all these things and this, that, and the other thing, to me, that's just overkill. If you're asking me to address you by a personal pronoun that you prefer, whether it's in writing or in person, whatever. It doesn't. The only thing it does is it makes me have to think about it.
Yeah, I don't think you're a bad person because of it.
And honestly,
right.
I could not. I'm just at an age where I just don't care. I mean, not. And when I say I don't care, I'm not saying I don't care in the sense that I don't respect your decision. I don't care in the sense that it doesn't. In me doing it, it doesn't make me feel like I'm doing anything that's
sabotaging something,
compromising my
right.
morals, or trying to add to the political discussion or any of that stuff. But we live in a country where there's just got to be somebody on the bottom rung. African Americans for a long time were just an easy target. You had segregation in the 60s. So they had to work for rights. And right now, it unfortunately, you've got some of these LGBTQ people that are just very easy targets. And it's no different than to me, the transgender sports issue. I think there's a pretty easy solution to it. You create a transgender division. That's all. Whatever. You have your
I
own,
don't think it would be wildly popular.
It doesn't matter. Do you think basketball...
Well, it does matter because they have to sell tickets for it.
You don't have to sell tickets. I'm talking about at the high school level, because everybody's complaining about the competition at all these different levels. I mean, you've got basketball that's played in wheelchairs. You've got, all these, you've got age groups that you put together. You have all these different things that you've already segmented. What's the big deal if you have a transgender division? To me, it's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. But even then, it's when I read stuff where you have these parents that'll be like, oh, my daughter didn't win the swimming meet because there was a transgender person in there that beat them, and my daughter spent all this year and then she's only going to get second place. It's like, come on, man. There's so many other things in life, so many big things.
But what if you base your entire career around that, though?
A swim meet at the high school level?
Well, no, I'm talking like the college levels and stuff like that.
I don't know. You know what? The thing is, if you got a transgender athlete that's competing in that division, you know what you're competing against.
Not always. They got to come in. They got to come in at some point.
But nobody complains if they come in 7th, do they? They only complain if they come in 1st. So if you come in as a transgender athlete
and don't win,
and you don't win, nobody says, "Boy, it's totally unfair that they participate." They aren't upset that they participate. They're only upset if they win.
That's fair.
It's true. I mean, that was the
fair.
situation with that boxer.
That's a very old porn comment.
It's a very old porn comment. Yes. Yeah, because let me tell you, if you had a whole bunch of transgender athletes coming in and they were 8, 9, and 10, there wouldn't be a single news story out there. That'd be all fine and dandy. You might get some snickers and sneers.
But are they coming in 1st and 2nd because they're transgender?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, in the cases where it gets pointed out, whether it's being put under the conservative microscope or whatever, it looks that way.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Lance Armstrong was using performance-enhancing drugs for years. I mean, people question it, whatever. I mean, but you have to you as a governing body of your particular sport have to figure out a way to address that. So if it is legitimate, which it may be, that a transgender athlete has an unfair advantage over other athletes in the spirit of fairness for that particular sport, you have to come up with something that is going to level the playing field for everybody.
Do you think with financial biases and financial political backings and agendas of corporations and things like that, that's reasonable to expect, though?
Maybe not. I mean, the other thing that comes out is that you taint the victory anyway. So, for example, if I'm a transgender athlete, I'm competing, I'm born male, identifies female, compete in a female division, I win. Everybody questions the validity of my win. Is it really a win anyway? You know what I mean? It's not like, unless I feel that I want to make a quote unquote political statement. Okay, so again, if you are not winning legitimately because you have an unfair advantage, you as the athlete owe it to the sport itself to admit that that is the case. I'm not saying if I know for sure if that's the case. I assume it's the case. It may be. But so how do you address that? Well, you don't necessarily want to put them back in the male division because they're not males, and that's insulting to what they want to identify as. And obviously my dogs don't appreciate it either. And if they can't compete in the females division because they have an unfair advantage, then you create a division that is an alternate division, which is a transgender division. And it may be transgender male, maybe transgender female. If there isn't enough competitors in those particular divisions, I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of like, lacrosse. If your school has enough kids that want to play lacrosse, you have a lacrosse team. If you don't, you don't. The Special Olympics, they gather athletes from all parts of the country, and they create games based on that because there's not enough kids.
Is that what they want, though? I mean, is that what they want, or do they want the equal across the board?
It's not equal if everybody's gonna say that your victory isn't fair, and if it turns out that it isn't. If you have an unfair,
but somebody's got to admit that it's, at some point one of the sides has to admit that there's an inequity.
Agreed, 100%. Agreed. Yes, but it's in their best interest to do that if it exists.
Interestingly enough, I don't know if this will add anything to the conversation or not, but it couldn't hurt. Over the years of being in business, a couple of things that I've noticed, you talk about, that you might want to be referred to as Mr. Jennings or Thom or Mr. Thom Jennings, when you ask people how to introduce you stuff. I've always noticed that if I have a customer call me and she refers to herself as her husband's name, she is going to be extremely difficult to deal with. Like if my wife were to call me and say, hey, I'm Mrs. John so-and-so, I need a carpet cleaning or, I need this service, I will call her. I can almost always expect she's going to be exceedingly difficult to deal with.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of wondering if that's the knee-jerk reaction that people have with, people having preferred pronouns and stuff like that. I mean, getting back to it, I said, the reality is, what are we all looking for is our own identity, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, we are all, but, from a Christian perspective, we should be looking for our identity in Christ or in God, that we believe created us. And in doing so, we're supposed to lead others to that. And in that, they find their identity.
Well, if you believe in your faith and you believe that your mission is to spread the faith, then the best way to spread your faith is to be an example. Which,
right.
It again, possible oversimplification. You come in somebody's house, they want you to take your shoes off, you take your shoes off.
Yeah.
That's all. If somebody asks you to be referred to by a certain name, just do it.
And then maybe when you develop a conversation with them as you're getting to know them, because they didn't just turn around and walk out of the house because you screamed at them because they didn't take their shoes off, or you didn't let them in the house because they wouldn't take their shoes off, and you actually enter into a conversation with them, you can hopefully express why you thought it was a good idea they take their shoes off or why they didn't, why they shouldn't.
Well, and I think by nature there are just some people who tend to be very adversarial. Like they're just looking.
Yeah.
They're looking for a fight.
Well, there's a lot of hurt. I mean, there's a lot of people that are hurt. You know, the old adage is hurt people hurt people. You know,
I never heard that one. That sounds like a whole topic.
Really? Yeah.
Hurt people.
Hurt people hurt people. Yeah. So I mean, if you get somebody that's looking for a fight, they didn't come out that way. You know, something created that.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily, you know, start when we come to the age of reason to want to, you know, just automatically be contentious and start picking fights with people. You know, it's either been learned or it's been fostered or it's been ingrained somehow, you know, through bad behavior, through good behavior, through circumstances and stuff like that. And I guess that's my point is, you know, when somebody asks you to call them something like that, it's not the end of the world.
No.
You know, what is the most important thing?
Be nice.
Oh, just extend love to them.
Love.
Right?
Love one another. Our new tagline.
Yeah.
It's the golden rule.
It is.
Do unto others.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm with you 100%. I think, oh, you're showing me the timer?
Yep.
Why do you... Okay.
See?
I had all these great things I wanted to say.
I know.
And they'll just be lost.
We're going to make you come up with a topic shortly here.
Well, this is our third episode for our recording session, so we're done.
No, we can do another one if you want a
You want to do
topic.
fourth? All right, we'll do fourth. I don't have a topic. I really don't. So, but yeah. Hey, anyhow, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
And remember, my name is Thom, Thom.
And he prefers Tom, not Tomas.
Not Tomas. And honest, I still get so pissed off if people just intentionally don't put the H in. Well, I'll close with this, okay? This is my...
Oh, you don't need to close. I still have to...
This is my paranoia.
Add my 2 cents.
You're going to add your 2 cents. So this is my paranoia. So my high school yearbook came out with me, and I'm a teacher, so it's not for my student, and it's got my staff picture in there. And the woman who does the yearbook and we don't see eye to eye, which is my polite way of saying that I don't like her, she don't like me. So so this year in the yearbook, she has me in there as Tomas. So not only did she take the H out, she added the AS, which nobody calls me Thomas in that building. Now, I've had people tell me that, like, oh, you know, it's just a typo, blah blah blah. But I'm like, I don't.
It's kind of like the yearbook, the yearbook thing from high school when the kid that was on the outs ends up getting something screwed up on their picture, or they end up accidentally inserting a picture of a dog in the kid's picture.
Yeah. Somebody's got to review the dang thing. You got to proofread. You get a proof book before you send it. You can't tell me that anybody thinks that I look Hispanic, that I go by Tomas. I go by Tom, and I get that, a lot of people call me Mr. Jennings or whatever. But I think that was...
and you can call me John or you can call me Jack. Either way, I don't care.
But I don't take the H out of the John, do I?
No.
You want the H as well. We both want the H.
We both want the H.
We just fist bumped. Drop the mic. Well, we can't. It's on a mic stand. All right, go ahead. What's your final thoughts? Wait, do you think they did that on purpose?
What, to you?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know you're going to dwell on it for like a year.
Oh man! And the hard part is that because that I dwell, like I get, I get fixated on stuff like that. It really makes me upset, and a lot of times I just start running my mouth because I'm upset. That's what I do. It's taken every ounce of my energy not to complain about it.
Okay, this episode may go a little long.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, this was something that happened to me today along that line.
Okay.
I had a client call me, left a message on a voicemail. I texted him back, said, I'm busy. I'll call you later. I said, hey, give me some information, and I'll work up an invoice for him so it's, a little bit more expedient when I come in contact with him to give him the estimate. And I took, one of the things they said right off the bat was like, well, hey, if I do 2 jobs, can I get a discount? And they're both like little rinky-dink jobs, and they're 40 miles from each other. So like, no, you're not getting a discount. And then as it happened, I was going to stop by and look at it, and the person says, well, I'm leaving in like an hour, so call me in the morning. Well, I forgot to call him in the morning because I was actually going to stop and look at it that night before they left. I forgot to call him in the morning, so I get what I feel is a snarky email saying, hey, if you're too busy, I understand, man. I was just trying to keep business local. My boss is trying to tell me to call Stanley Steamer, and he's going to be calling me at like 1:00, and but hey, if you're too busy, I get it. And I said, with all due respect, I said, if you need to go another route, you can go another route. Best regards. So I called somebody I know, she'll say the second smartest person that I know, and asked her what to do. And she says, well, call him, set something up. Just set it up a couple days later. So, because I was set up an estimate for a few days later. So, because I was stewing on it, because, it's kind of like what you're talking about. Like,
I stew.
Yeah, it was driving me nuts. My assistant's like, man, you're really fixated on this. I said, well, yeah, because, I felt like the guy was being a jerk. Like, it hadn't even been 24 hours since our first contact, and he's already trying to blow me off for, I don't care if he calls Stanley Steamer. I mean, honestly, go ahead. That's fine. Or call one of my closer competitors. I don't care. I'm not going to starve, but, I don't want you thinking I'm giving you bad service is what it came down to. Yeah. So she says, well, call him and set up an estimate. So I called him. He was very personable on the phone. And I say, hey, listen, I did forget to call you last night. That is definitely on me. I said, I can set you up for Friday. We'll come out and look at it. And I told him, I can't do you a discount based on what you're telling me, because the jobs are too far apart. And everything was fine. So, but my point on this was, under the advisement of my second smartest friend, was to just handle it. Yeah. Don't stew on it. Just freaking handle it. Go up to the person and say, hey, listen, can you explain this to me?
Hmm.
With the picture with your name misspelled, can you just explain this to me? Because I feel like I should be taking it personally, and I hope that's not the case. But if it is, will you please just tell me?
I used to have a sales manager that his favorite expression was, when he was upset, he would say, "Help me understand." Help me understand.
Yeah, because you're not leading the conversation.
Help me understand why you left the H out. I'd actually have to speak to her to do that. I just don't.
You need to just start doing stuff like this. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna. Okay.
I love you dearly, but you need to just start doing stuff like this.
I had a situation recently with a guy that was kind of weaseling in on my beat for my newspaper column, and my son Trevor said,
just call him.
Call the dude, and I did.
Yeah.
And it didn't get resolved right away, but it eventually did.
Yeah. Right. And
I had to attack it. And I'd actually listened to an episode on This American Life called "Swim Towards the Sharks," and the premise is that when danger comes, you think that you should run away from it, but the reality is when you head towards it.
Swim towards the mother huggers and poke them in the eye.
There you go. Yes. So there you go. Well worth the additional time that we appended to the episode, or we could just call it a bonus episode.
But you know what the most important thing is?
To love
one another.
Yeah. Okay. You got anything else? Subscribe, share.
Huh?
Subscribe, share. Can we say Ben? Can we say Ben's name? Can we make that
Ben
a thing too? Ben.
Ben's our administrative assistant.
Ben. Yeah. He's sorry. We'll call. Can we call him quality control? I gotta meet Ben.
We're giving Ben a position now.
Ben is now quality control. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. We're sorry we went a little bit long. We'll see you in 2
weeks.
Yeah.
Later.
Hey, bye.